Welcome to another episode of Brand X. Was that me or you? What happened there?
That was me.
I thought I unwrapped a lozenger.
Sorry.
Welcome to the Brand X podcast. I'm John. I'm with Deuce, who's over there making noise while I'm trying to talk.
Totally unprofessional. Sorry about that. Hello,
That's
everyone.
Quite all right. Deuce, I think I'm getting a case of the ammonias.
I hope you're not getting a case of the ammonia. I would prefer you were just getting a cold.
I think that's what's going on here. So if my voice is a little scratchy, I apologize. But I say let's get the show going, and the show must go on. So we're recording, and this is going to be the last time we get to talk before we get a new president-elect. What do you think about that?
Well, we're not going to podcast next Tuesday.
Well, yes, but
That'll be
Monday.
That'll be actual day.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah.
So we'll be doing it Monday, the day before the
So we
election.
have two podcasts
Right. So,
before there's
yes.
an actual president-elect.
That's correct. You were right.
Of course. I'm
All right, everybody, forget
what
what I just said.
You just like threw me into a whirl. I'm like, did I screw up my schedule? I'm like looking at my calendar here, like, wait a minute.
Listen, I'm all high on Hall's cough drops right now, so this is going to be really, really some kind of show. Some kind of show. You know
what? Before we get started, I just wanted to do a backup. Last podcast, we were talking about podcasts that we like.
Yes.
And we had mentioned the Toe on the Trigger podcast. And we never mentioned the host's name, which is Daniel Repholz.
Okay.
I mean, I was listening to it back, and I don't know how it just got by me. He is the host, along with his co-host Cassie, and you might want to check them out. And as I mentioned last podcast, it's very adult oriented, so be wary. It's pretty interesting, and they're not worried about political correctness whatsoever.
No.
So I apologize to Daniel Repholz and his great podcast,
You think that
Toe on the Trigger.
You think they heard this? You think they said, damn, that Deuce.
Well, you know what? I just have good manners. What can I say?
Okay. And it seems like you have a fan now, too, because I was looking on Facebook, or was it the Twitter? Where did I see where Mindy from 3 is Comedy said she's
Facebook is where I live.
Okay, so it was Facebook where she said she was a fan of yours?
Yes, that was very nice.
Okay. So there's like a mutual admiration society going on there.
Well, I don't know. It's just go ahead, call her a fangirl.
I didn't say she was a fan.
Go ahead, do it. Say it.
So,
Say it!
now why did that start? Now I'm thinking over here. That's not fair. I turn off my notifications. I'm telling you, these halls, they got me all high. So, the other day I was listening to 3 is Comedy. Did you happen to hear 3 is Comedy the other day? Oh, who I'm talking to. Of course you did. So, they did a story about 2 Samoan boys that were kind of large.
Right.
And they had to get weighed before they were allowed on the plane because they have to know how much they weigh so that they can distribute the weight. Now, what I know of flying, because I'm a relatively large guy myself, is that, excuse me one second. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Clearing your throat?
Yeah, this is going to be real fun. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this. So anyhow, if you're in a smaller plane, which is like those 8-seater, 12-seater planes, they have to know how your weight, what you weigh, so they can distribute the weight around.
And how much luggage you can take.
Right.
Because it's not going to be unlimited.
Right. And so, I always say, whatever people tell you, add 25 pounds. That way because everybody doesn't really tell you the real weight. So they asked these boys to get weighed, and, and then the problem is when you're a large guy like me, these things happen, like when you want to fly. I've had to fly a few times, and I actually had to buy, I'm the best kind of guy to fly with because I do have to buy 2 seats. So what happens is whoever sits next to me, we got a seat like in the center. We put our stuff there. We can put our stuff there. Although I do kind of take umbrage to when someone, like I bought the seat and the guy sits down, he starts putting his laptop down there and all this other stuff down there. Right. I'm like, dude, if you want to give me $150, you can put whatever you want on that side of the seat because that's my seat. He's like, well, nobody's using it. I'm using it. Mm-hmm. So it is, something you have to think about that most people don't have to think about. Some of the other things that we have to think about is some things that I fear is like plastic lawn chairs.
Right.
I don't sit in them. Folding chairs. Some folding chairs, I got to look at them. Got to give them the hairy eyeball to see whether I want to sit down in them or not. I need a good, sturdy wooden chair or steel maybe. But
or concrete like I have in my backyard.
Yeah, concrete chairs. They're nice. You don't see too many people breaking them.
Yeah.
One of the most embarrassing things that ever happened to me was I went to a water park with my kids, my girlfriend, and her kids. And I went to sit in a plastic chair, and the damn thing broke.
Ugh.
And when it broke, it hit the ground. And when it hit the ground, the arms came in, like the chair legs went out, which put the arm, so it was like this plastic chair had a hold of me.
It's like the jaws of life.
It was like the jaws of life. So the people were coming over to try to help me. And you don't want to be, you want to be anywhere.
You just probably wanted the earth to open up and swallow you.
Yeah, you want the earth to open up and swallow you. So what I did was I just got, that whole Hulk strength thing, and I just pushed out on my arms and snapped the arms on the chair and then rolled and got up and I'm okay.
Right. I meant to do that.
Yeah, I meant to do that. How about that? So, yeah.
For my next trick.
For my next trick, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here.
Where did that happen? At Busch Gardens?
No, it was Clement Lake Park.
Well, you don't have to worry about impressing those bastards. Well,
you say that, but it was like
I hear what
Saturday about 4:00. I mean, it was a crowd. It looked like a fist fight broke out.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
They're trying to get me out of this chair. I'm like, no, stand back. And I just pushed over, snap. And I come rolling out of there, and the guy's like, you're cut. I'm like, I'm fine.
Right.
I'm okay. But yeah, so it's equally embarrassing for someone, of our size. We don't like being this way either. There's, I'm not going to say there's a reason for it. I'm just saying there's, issues that we have for some reason. We just can't seem to get a handle on this. And
well, you have other extenuating. You got hurt.
Yeah,
you were always a pretty big guy, but you were very active. And right. You used to run the Beagles and and train them, and you and I used to play racquetball,
football
back in the day. Yes, but then when you got that injury at work, and then of course you're older, and you can't do as much, and of course your metabolic rate's going to slow down.
And so. and then what we do and then for me, I do everything that you're not supposed to do, like I eat the wrong times, the wrong kinds of food and stuff like that. So, there's things that I can do that are different. And listen, I'm paying the price for it now. I told you that I had to go Friday for a stress test, and because my knee's bad, my back bad, I can't get on that treadmill.
Right.
So they give you a needle, and they inject you with this medicine, and it makes your heart like it's going to come out of your chest. And you're sitting there, and all you want to do is sit up, and they're trying to do the ultrasound on your chest, and there's like 7 people in the room while they're going through all this, and that's not fun. But, like I said, we're going to definitely change this. We're going for...
that is a pretty dangerous test. Did
really?
They make you sign in with the death waiver?
Sure. Well, you have to sign that no matter what you do.
I never knew that until my grandparents lived in a over 55 community, but now they call it for active adults, which, talk about marketing bullshit. Gee, all my life I was a lazy slob, but now that I'm 55, I'm going to get on my catamaran and sail around the world. But no, their neighbor, he went for a stress test, and he took the stress test, and they sent him home, and within 20 minutes of arriving home, he passed away of a heart attack.
Really? Now, see, that's what that was supposed to stop.
No, that happens quite often. That's why they make you sign that death waiver.
No, I don't think I like that.
Yeah, well, that's why I never told you that.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, because I know you would have went through with it. But I think because of that, it's been such an issue. I think that's exactly why they have 7 people in there, because they're going to...
I got to tell you.
They're going to jump into action if they need to.
I felt like I was doing a gay porno film.
Ooh.
It's like, you're sitting there, the lights drop down, you're sitting there, you take your shirt off, they shoot that goo all over you, they're rubbing it all in your chest, right? And then like afterwards, it's like after it was done, they're like cut, and they all leave, and you're just sitting there with your shirt off and shit all over your chest, like you got to get up and find your shirt, like you feel like you're doing a walk of shame out of there. No one came back in again. So I had to.
Did you ever have, getting back on the topic of like, being, a big guy, overweight, did you ever have people like make fun of you in public and stuff? Like, because I've seen people do that shit, and it's just like, because you're kind of a badass. I mean, did you ever just get somebody and
whipped a few asses over that?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty wild that people would actually.
I went to a McDonald's one time, and I was with two friends. We weren't even dating. It was me, my friend Dave, and we were with just my friend's sister and another girl, and we were just stopped to get something to eat, and we're sitting at McDonald's, and these two guys, they come up and they start tapping on the window, and they're like talking. They want the girls to come out. I'm like, how do they know that that's not my girlfriend?
Right.
So I give him the one finger salute. And then, he said something else. I said, okay, let me out. And the girl's like, no, don't go out there. Don't get in a fight. Don't get out there. And I'm like, all right. So we finish eating. And those two clowns, they were still sitting there, and they waited till I came out. And then one said something to me like, something, fat boy. And I turned around, I took the lid off my soda, and I just threw it on him.
Right.
And then he came after me. And I don't know, there was a little bit of a... I guess it was kind of like a,
hullabaloo?
There was a little bit of a hullabaloo going on there.
It didn't break out into not quite a melee, and certainly not a Donnybrook.
Well, let's put it this way. By the time, it took me about, 15 or 20 seconds, and I had him on the ground, and
right.
I was pounding his head into the ground with the force of, I was trying to like crack his skull open.
Right.
And then my friend Dave, he had hold of the other guy. And the manager of the McDonald's comes out and says, okay, knock it off. Well, Dave let go of his guy, and then his guy came right over and kicked me like 3 times in the face. So that wasn't fun. But like my shirt was ripped, and, they had to carry him out, the guy that I had a hold of. But I don't take that stuff kindly. You know what I mean?
But you have a pretty good sense of humor, too, because I don't know if you remember this, and I'm sure if I tell it, you'll remember. You were fixing an elevator in a hospital, and somebody came around the corner like they were visiting, and they just said to you, like, oh, excuse me, can you tell me where the cafeteria is?
Yes.
Do you remember what you told them? Okay,
so they said, got to ask the fat guy where the cafeteria is? Well, you can't find anybody else there. I guess, I'm fat, so I have to know where the cafeteria is. He was like, no, I was just trying to figure that you worked here, and you knew where the cafeteria was. Are you sure? You sure it wasn't because of my size?
And then when it was all in, you dropped the punch on it. No, just go down that hallway and make a left. The cafeteria is right there. And the guy looked at you like...
Of course I know where the cafeteria is. The best is like if you're laying on the floor, if you have to work on something on the elevator and you got to, in this position and you got the doors open, you got to lay on the floor. So you're laying on the floor, and you could be in an office building or a hospital or something, and people walk around the corner and there's this big guy laying on the floor like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just fixing the elevator here. Oh, I thought I was going to have to give you mouth to mouth. You wouldn't have made it.
I know some heavy people that will not fly. I'm
not a fan of it,
especially when the TSA came around, because then just going through the security is a hassle. Getting weighed, like you had mentioned, and a lot of them, they'll just they'll drive out themselves if it's reasonably close. Like maybe if it's a day's drive, they'll do that, or they'll take the train or a bus.
Well,
they just won't fly because it's an issue.
Well, the big planes, the big jets, they don't weigh you. There's a seat there. It's the same as like in amusement parks. They have a seat there, and you go over and you try to get in the seat. And if you can fit in the seat, then you only have to buy one ticket. If you can't fit in the seat, you got to buy 2. Same thing like in amusement parks in Disney World, like on a roller coaster. You go over there, and there's a seat there that you got to pull the bar down. If you can't get the bar down, you can't go on the ride.
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing.
Well, that kind of makes sense because now the rides are so over the top with, the the drops, the dips, the spins.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure that bar can latch. So I can kind of see that on an amusement park ride.
I'm telling you right now, if I was going to get on a ride, right, and I was like your size, okay, and I saw a guy my size get up and he's going to sit next to me on one of those, I'm like, dude, go somewhere else. You're not going to take me with you. This thing comes snapping off. I don't want to fly with you into the next town.
Oof.
You know? Yeah. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, roller coasters especially, because I love roller coasters. They're my favorite. Right. But now they're so over the top because now they do those like zero-G twists and, where you're
trying
weightless.
To kill somebody on them.
Oh,
yeah. They have been killing people.
Well, see, I like speed. So getting on a roller coaster, it's just, it's a blast for me. I love it. But then now that I'm getting older, and I was in a car accident a few years ago, and I got on with my son, and my back, I was in agony for about a week and a half.
It's just not worth it.
So, well, that's, you do, shit happens, and then you get older. And yeah, I mean, I felt great, but, that car, you forget about, when you're not in pain, you forget about shit that happened to you. And then we got on that roller coaster, and then I came off, and my back was screaming. I was like, well, that was a mistake. And I think that was probably the last time I got on a roller coaster, and that was about 7 years ago.
Okay, I got you. Speaking of being a fanboy, I'm a fanboy. Speaking about being a fanboy, I'm a fanboy of Bad Cop, Bad Cop. So we kind of followed each other on Twitter because, I'm a real fanboy.
Right.
And the guy, Jerry, or is it Dave? Dave. Did you ever see him?
No, I've never seen either one of them.
He's huge. And I don't mean like he's fat. He looks like a Stone Cold Steve Austin, like a wrestler. Like he's
buff,
big, he's bald. Yeah. Like he darkens the sun when he stands next to you. I was like, holy cow! Look at the sign. I never would have thought of that from his voice. But he's one big dude. Like if you're ever somewhere and some shit went down, I'd go stand behind Dave.
Yeah, it's safe over here.
Yeah, it's safe. Get him, Dave. There he is. Go get him. That's it. Yeah. I mean, one big boy. I still can't get used to you playing sound effects because I think mine's malfunctioning. All right, Dave. That's enough. I think he's had enough. Yeah. But no, he's a big dude. I don't know, like I said, even a guy that size, I mean, he might, I don't know if he would have a problem, with two seats, but I mean, he's a
yeah, well, I work dude. With a lot of guys like that. And my line of work, a lot of guys are former military, former police. And yeah, I mean, it's not that. I mean, these guys are like I weighed I hover in between 179, 184 ish. Okay,
right.
And I'm almost 5'11". All right, okay. So that's where I hover. Okay, but there are guys that I work with that are the same height that I am, but they're like 225, 230. They are like Jeff. Jeff, is it, or Dave?
Dave.
That's big. Okay, Dave. These guys are built.
This guy's
they live in the gym, and that's what they do.
Yeah, I would imagine Dave's got to be 6'3", 6'4". Maybe not. I don't know. But he's a big dude. Who was the governor from Minnesota? What was that guy's name? You would know. I can't think of his name. He was a wrestler.
Oh, Jesse Ventura.
Yes, kind of looks like Jesse. Yeah, same kind of look as Jesse Ventura. I was like, oof, look at this. So anyhow, but yeah.
Now Jesse Ventura looks like a deranged hippie.
What, did he grow hair?
Oh yeah, he's got long. He's got his straggly gray hair. It's real long. It's he almost looks like a homeless dude.
He's going for a new look, huh?
Yeah. Well, he's crazy. He went off the deep end, I think. So,
well, that's what happens when you get old.
Yeah. Nah, I think he's just crazy. Crazy. Cue the Patsy Cline music. It's just yeah, I don't want to get into that. So
okay,
that'll lead down other paths.
Oh, we're going. Just so you know, we're going to end up there.
Okay. Oh, sure.
That's right. Well, what I'd like to do is since we're doing this, I'd like to give you an internet lie detector test. I went to a site, and they actually we're changing the subject. What I want to do is I want to give you a internet lie detector test. I want to ask you some questions, and this site, by just the sound of your voice, will tell you whether you're lying or not. All right, you ready for this?
Well, oh, okay.
You sure?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Are you afraid?
Is it? No, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
Okay. That's right. All right, so I have to ask you some baseline questions.
Okay.
All right. All right, is your nickname Deuce?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. That's correct. Were you born in New Jersey?
No.
Okay. Are you a fan of Corvettes?
Yes.
Okay, it's pretty good.
They're pretty obvious.
They're pretty obvious. I just wanted to check to see if it was working. All right, so here we go. First question. After seeing a large chunk of your paycheck go to federal taxes, you learn that the government is considering giving a bailout to a large bank that has mismanaged its finances. Do you think it's fair for you to be forced to pay the salaries of bankers who failed to do their jobs? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, that's correct.
Oh, wait a minute. You don't know whether that's correct or not?
Yes, I do. It's just the internet thing just told me.
Okay.
That's never wrong.
No, oh, no. Go ahead.
A man is caught smoking marijuana in his home with the windows and the doors closed so that he will not disturb anyone else. Should he be put in prison for his decision to smoke weed?
Yes.
I'm not kidding. I know that's.
Uh,
I know you're telling the truth.
Now, see, that's a just to interrupt it, that's a subjective question because now you've got states with different laws. So, some states that might not be against the law. I'm coming from that. If it's against the law, then yes, that's where you're going.
They should go to jail, even though it's just smoking weed.
Right. If it's against the law.
But it's in some states, like, if you're in one state.
That's what you have to.
If you're in Colorado, it's okay.
Right. It's going to depend. So.
You don't have a problem with marijuana as long as it's legal in the state that you're using it in.
I do have a problem with it, but I do realize that some districts have passed legislature. That's what their voters voted on, and that's what it is.
Okay. Just checking. All right, like most people, you keep a lot of sensitive information on your computer. Bank accounts, medical information, and you have a checkered search history. Should the federal government be allowed to access this information without first obtaining a search warrant based on reasonable suspicion of criminal activity?
Well, read that again. I think I lost
Say
you.
it again. Like most people, you keep a lot of sensitive information on your computer.
I don't. Okay, that's real. I don't leave any information like that on any of my devices.
All right, well, then let's do this. Should the federal government be allowed to access any information on your computer without first obtaining a search warrant based on a reasonable suspicion of criminal activity?
No, that's against the law.
Okay, look at you. All right. A family member is suffering from a terminal disease. There exists a drug that might treat or even cure the illness, but has not yet been approved for sale in the United States. Although it is being successfully used in Europe, should the Food and Drug Administration be able to stop your family member from taking medicine that might save their lives as long as they understand the risks?
Yes, because it's against the law.
Really?
I mean, yeah, it's against the law. It's against the law.
Huh. I don't know. I mean, if it was my kid and there was a trial, something was working over in Europe or something like that, I don't know.
Well, that's why you leave this country and you go there and you.
So you have to fly. You just can't. You have to fly there. You can't just bring the medicine here. You just can't.
Right.
You can't put it in a FedEx box and send it.
That's why a lot of people. Excuse me. That's why a lot of people go to Canada or Germany or whatever.
Right.
But a lot of those times, those substances are banned by the FDA for other reasons. But everyone likes. I know you like conspiracy theories, so it's
because the company over here is trying to make the same thing, and they don't want your.
Well, no, not necessarily. A lot of the times, it's the side effects of that treatment could be just as bad as the disease you're trying to cure.
Okay, I got you. All right, here we go. Next question. You decide to make a few bucks by driving for Uber in your spare time.
No, I do not. No.
Come on, just go with me here, will you?
Okay.
It's easy and the pay isn't bad, but because Uber doesn't provide health insurance and a pension, the local government wants to shut them down. Is it right to shut them down?
No.
No, what's wrong with the internet thing? There we go. So far, you've been telling the truth. A group of African immigrants speak little English, but they have one skill that gives them advantage over the locals, a technique of African hair braiding. However, state law requires them to undergo extensive and expensive license requirements in order to practice their trade. Is it right for the government to stop them from earning a living when their poverty and language skills make acquiring a license nearly impossible?
I would say no, conditionally, because that's a pet peeve of mine. Especially in this state overregulates everything because they're trying to protect another industry, and I think that's wrong.
Okay. Your children has reached schooling age, but you find that the local school is disorganized, run poorly, chaotic, even dangerous. You lack the money to afford private school, but you believe that you could find either a better school nearby or else educate your children at home. Should you be forced to send your kids to a failing school simply based on where you live?
No.
Okay. Your friend owns a small farm with dairy cows. He offers to sell you some raw milk at an affordable price. You understand the risks of drinking unpasteurized milk, and you want to accept your friend's offer. Should the Department of Agriculture prevent you from making that decision?
Yes.
Okay.
These are really bizarre questions, by the way.
Just asking the questions. A foreign nation known for harboring large numbers of people hostile to the United States finds itself in financial distress. Congress is considering sending foreign aid to this country as its citizens burn American flags in the streets. Is this a good idea?
See, that's another one. I would say there would have to be conditions met, but generally this country is so gregarious that it just gives the money.
So is that a good idea or no? Yes or no?
I think it's a bad idea.
Okay. So it's a bad idea. Gotcha. All right. Unless someone printed this out for you, which would be weird, you are taking a quiz on the internet. Should the federal government have the ability to censor, block, shut down portions of the internet, as both major parties, presidential nominees have expressed the desire to do so?
No.
So no shutting down the internet.
No.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Two faraway countries, Imburia and Doncaristan, are engaged in a military conflict, likely to claim many lives. Although there is no direct threat to America in general, should the United States put our soldiers' boots on the ground to intervene in such conflicts?
Generally, the United Nations does that. Conflicts like that, we don't generally do that.
What should we?
Or what are they talking about? Are they talking about like
just two countries? It's
like genocide. I mean, is there genocide going on?
This says two countries, Imburia and Doncaristan.
Right.
So it's just two countries that are I don't know, they're in the Middle East, they're in Africa.
They're at war.
They're at war, and there's no threat to the United States. Should we send soldiers over there to intervene in these conflicts?
Yeah, it's kind of a broad question. I would say if there was genocide going on, like what happened in Rwanda a few years ago, and we did nothing, and a lot of those people got killed, or Nazi Germany, yeah, you go in.
Okay. All right. The supreme leader of Doncaristan is quite a tyrant, with little respect for democracy and other civil liberties. Is it a good idea for the U.S. military to take out the tyrant and try to impose a Western-style democratic government, regardless
Say that
of
one more time.
Democratic government, regardless of local traditions or culture?
Again, it's too broad. I would say yes, but this country doesn't have the wherewithal to do that.
So you
I would say yes.
Okay. A gay nightclub opens up in a rough part of town, known for intolerance and prejudice. Is it a good idea for the government to prevent patrons of the club from carrying weapons, including legally owned and obtained guns, in order to defend themselves?
The government can't do that, but the owners of the nightclub can. So no, that the government should not be doing that.
Okay. The U.S. imprisons more people than any other nation. Nearly half of those behind bar in federal prisons are nonviolent drug offenders. Does locking up so many people make it safer let me try that again. Does locking up so many people make it a safer or fairer society?
Well, it makes it a safer society. And that's a disingenuous question because they always trot that statistic out. But a lot of those people, they say they were locked up for, harmful drug laws or whatever, but they're usually the third strike and you're out. So they generally also have weapons charges or assault charges, and that's why they're in jail.
Okay. So nonviolent drug offenders, you think locking them up's a good idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they did something else. I know how that works.
Okay. You hold strong beliefs, but both major political parties want you to impose their preferred test of values upon everyone, forcing you or your neighbor to conform. Should the political process choose your values? Yes or no?
Wait, read that again.
What are you saying? You hold strong beliefs, but both major political parties want you to impose their prefer. I almost made it through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You hold strong beliefs, but both major political parties want you to impose their preferred set of values on everyone, forcing you, your neighbor, to conform. Should the political process choose your values? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So far, you've been giving me all correct answers.
Well, of course, I'm Deuce. That's what I do.
Right. All right, so give me just 1 second here.
Time's up.
Because I thought I could get the results of this, but now they want my email address, so now I got to give them a fake email address. Okay. Thank you. All right, so you've got 9. It says, are you a libertarian? You've got 9 out of 15 rights. 9 out of 15 right. Congratulations. You sound like a libertarian. Looks like Gary Johnson is your man this November.
Well, wait a minute. If I answered all the questions right, how is it that I got 9 out of 15 right?
I don't know. It says, are you a libertarian? You got 9 of 15 right. Congratulations. You sound like a libertarian. It looks like Gary Johnson is your man this November.
Yeah, but they didn't ask any other questions.
Well, here's the ones that they say you got wrong. If you were a libertarian, you would not be for locking up nonviolent drug offenders. Okay? You would also not be for regime change. You wouldn't be for going into another country to intervene in their conflicts.
Well, now, see, this is my point exactly, because when they ask people a lot of these poll questions,
mm-hmm.
they can weigh the question the way they want it by leaving stuff out, because there's no, so as I pointed out on some of those questions, there's extenuating circumstances.
Gotcha.
So you're forced a yes or a no without any explanation.
Right. It also says that you're not a you did not pass the libertarian part of the test because you don't think it's okay for you to go over and get unpasteurized milk because
if you want to die.
Well, if you know, listen, a lot of people drank raw milk before they came up with pasteurization. Not everybody died.
Yeah. But then they came out with pasteurization and a whole lot less people started dying.
I'm not going to say that's not true.
See, that's the problem with questions like that. I mean, it was pretty a fun test. It was intriguing, but,
right.
But no, I'm not voting for...
I know you're not voting for. Okay.
And what is Aleppo?
Exactly. I know. Your guy is...
Grab him by the pussy.
Well, he's not my guy, but that's who I'm voting for.
Your guy. Anyhow, we both agree that we don't want the thick-angled dog face in the White House. We both agree on that.
Right. And I'm not going to talk about politics.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right. Is there anybody that could sway your vote?
At this point, like 8 days out, I don't think. Or what are we, 7 days out?
Nothing. There's nothing that could be done, maybe,
to vote
to
for
sway
who?
your vote? For Hillary.
No.
There's no way.
Yeah,
Nothing.
they have to trip me on acid or something. And
Maybe that's it?
Maybe if I had a lobotomy like Jack Nicholson at the end of Cuckoo's Nest and you smothered me with a pillow at the end, then that's about it.
Well, I mean, for this scenario, I have to make special dispensations. Okay.
Wait, are we talking about politics, which I said I'm not going to do?
I don't know. You're going to have to tell me if this is politics or not.
Trickery.
That's right.
I detect trickery.
All right. So, you get ready to vote, okay? And for this scenario, you're not a married man. You're a single guy, okay? I know you're happy. I know how you're happily married, and you would never do anything that would do anything to the sanctity of your marriage that would jeopardize that. I know that. Okay?
Oh, I know where you're going with this. No, the answer is no.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get to don't jump ahead. What's wrong with you? So the other night, Amy Schumer was doing a show, and Madonna came out and introduced Amy on stage. It was in New York City, and she promised the crowd that anybody that would change their vote to Hillary Clinton, that she would give them a blowjob. Now, I know she's 58 years old. I know she's 58 years old, all right? But she's still she's pretty, still not bad looking.
Don't care.
Don't care.
No,
wouldn't change your vote?
No, wouldn't change my vote because now, first of all, what does that say about how great that candidate is that someone has to come out and basically prostitute themselves? And what does that say about a person that would compromise their morals and their political beliefs just to do that?
All right.
You're not you're not, to me, you're just not a person. So.
All right. Well, listen, she goes, I'm really good.
Don't care.
I'm not a tool. I take my time. There's a lot of eye contact.
Don't care.
She also swallows.
Don't care.
Still nothing, huh?
Nope.
How many guys do you think that would change their vote?
Oh, I would say because guys are basically weak. They would probably be, there'd be a few. I'm not going to deny that, but I wouldn't do it.
Well, I started to think about this. And I'm thinking to myself, what are the chances that my vote means anything?
Well, see, you're throwing your vote away, so go for it.
And then what are the chances that I could ever get a blowjob from Madonna? I mean, listen, you vote every 4 years, but, I mean, come on now, right? And she said, there's a lot of eye contact.
Suckle Daddy's sugar ball. Suckle Daddy's sugar ball.
Exactly. That would probably be the only way that I would vote for Hillary.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Have fun with that. I don't know. I asked a couple people and everybody said the same thing. Oh, no, I wouldn't do that. But I have a feeling that if they were, taking the side and nobody else would know, I think a lot of those things would change. No?
I don't know.
We asked your brother. He said no way, but I guarantee you he would change his mind.
Nah, Joe wouldn't.
You don't think so?
Nah.
Madonna?
Nope.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I know my brother pretty well.
I don't know. I think I hear Steve Miller music in the background.
Nah, that's different. Yeah.
All right. Guess what? We have some fan mail.
Yeah, you would mention this.
I'll tell you
that
what.
was longer coming.
I'm quick on the trigger, aren't I? I'm a regular gunslinger with these things.
Did I lose them?
In my mind, I'm going, where the fuck is that thing? All right. Hi, John and Deuce. The podcasts are great. I enjoy hearing about all your friends, family stories. The topics are getting better as well. Thank God. Not to mention the funny sound effects that you guys have for different things. John, I'm listening to the podcast, and I notice that you have this catchy tone for the Jimmy, which I think is cool. I'm looking forward to hearing more of this. It's the Jimmy song in the future podcast. If possible, I think you should have a link for a direct download of the song. Anyway, guys, keep up the good work, as 200 podcasts will be coming soon. So, I don't know.
It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you do?
It is
What do
very
you do?
catchy.
You think so?
Yeah, well, they like it. They requested it.
I don't know. I mean, basically what I did with that was it's an app on your phone that you can it's like a rap battle app that you put on your phone. And then it didn't really work well, so I had to take it and then pull the song in and then pull my rap in and kind of cut it up and, change it. So it was that. Mm-hmm. But speaking of the Jimmy...
It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you do? What do you do? It's the Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do?
He's like a gangster. Mm-hmm. So the Jimmy is taken to the Twitter. Now, here's the thing. And I guess probably, you and I, we want to try to grow this podcast. We want to try to get as many listeners as we can. Mm-hmm. But we are over 50 years old. All right. And there's a lot of people that are our age that really, they're not into the technology of podcasting. Mm-hmm. They don't really listen to I mean, there are a lot of people our age that listen to it, but there's a lot of our people our age that does not listen to it. Now, I basically had to take Jimmy's phone and show him and actually had to subscribe to shows on his phone for him so he can listen to them. Not you. I just told you about it and you figured it out. So he calls me up today and says, I'm trying to tweet. I'm like, excuse me, what was that? I'm trying to tweet. I said, okay. What do you got to say? Well, I'm trying to send a tweet to this news station. What news station? Channel 5. All right. So now, there's no Channel 5 in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay. So I think what he's talking about is Channel 5 on his cable box.
Right. I'm trying to think. Is that
that's Fox.
the CW?
I think it's Fox.
See, Fox is 9 over here.
Right. So I'm just trying to say. So
wait, you don't have the Evil Empire either, right? I have.
Well,
Comcast.
he has the Evil Empire. I don't. I have.
Okay. Well, over here it's Fox is 9. The
what
local
I'm saying
Fox
is
affiliate.
It's different on. It's different on everybody's cable box. In here, if you lived here, everybody's would be the same. But what I'm saying is, it's Fox 29, which is a UHF station, and they are on Channel 5 on this cable box. The same station on your cable box is a different number.
It's 9, right?
Right. So he's trying to figure out how to tweet Channel 29, Fox 29, which he thinks is Channel 5.
Well, he would have probably had to hit search Fox 29.
But he's going to say search Fox 5, which is probably New York. I don't know. What I'm saying is, is the technology too much for people our age? Has it passed us by?
Well, I think a lot of it too is working off of a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
They're cramming a lot on there on that little screen
versus
versus like a full blown. I mean, it is what it is. That's what you're going to use it for, a smartphone,
right?
And sometimes I have trouble manipulating around on Facebook, just liking and replying on things because the screen is so small, and so that could be the issue.
But see, we are engaging our audience on Twitter. We have brand_X_podcast. That's us on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And you have your own Twitter account. What are you on Twitter now? You're Deuce?
Deuce _ at BrandX, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Right. And so anyhow, if you wanted to find out what we are, you could always go to brandxpodcast.com/contact. You can find out.
Hey, is there a name on that fan mail?
Yes. But something would really be smart if I put the guy's name down here. I did not. You know his name. Ed something. Ed of Ed's Steakhouse.
Ed's Steakhouse. It's Eddie Besco.
So he's a friend of yours.
Yes.
But it was really weird. He actually went to the website and used the form to send us an email because it came in, from our email address, which was hello@brandxpodcast.com.
Yeah, I hear from him. I met him when I was the president of the Corvette Club, and his family. They owned a business. Great people. They had an ice cream store, and he's well, now he's older, but he was like 21 or 22 then, I guess. And he's got a Mustang, and so a lot of times he would ask questions, and I keep in touch with him. And when we started the podcast, I just kind of mentioned it, and he never really said anything, so I just.
But he found it.
Forgot, and then so evidently he's been listening. So that's great. Thanks. Hey Eddie, what's up? How you doing? So his mom and dad. I mean, they were really nice people, but boy, they could have a reality show of those two. So some funny stories there because Diane and Wise and I used to go there all the time, and they unfortunately, with the economy took the downturn that it did, and they were there for about 3 or 4 years, but
so no more
wrap it up. They had to wrap it up.
Well, that's a sin.
So I mean, it's funny though. Speaking of fans,
Yes.
guess what I got?
What?
I've got Dave's brackets.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he did the brackets. He handed it off to me.
No kidding.
So what we can do here, if you want,
sure.
I can reduce the Thrilling 32 to Dave's Sweet 16, and then we can continue this.
All right, let's hear what Dave. Let's give us the brackets because we're
okay. If you remember, you had the Girl Next Door
right on one
versus
side.
the Superpowered Fantastic on the right side.
Okay, so here's what did Dave do?
Okay, Florence Henderson versus Shirley Jones.
Right,
like you, Dave went with Florence Henderson.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shirley Jones is a little frumpy.
Right. Susan Summers versus Joyce DeWitt. Dave's going with Joyce DeWitt, just like you did.
All right.
Mary Tyler Moore and that bitch Marlo Thomas. Dave went with that bitch Marlo Thomas, just like you did.
Okay.
Okay. Lonnie Anderson and Jan Smithers. He's going with Jan Smithers.
Really?
Right. And that's what you did.
Right. Until I saw what she looked like now. Oof.
Well, we were basing it back on our youth. Come on.
Right.
And of course, you and I look like Brad Pitt, so we can pass these judgments
Doesn't
on
matter.
people. Ginger versus Marianne. Marianne wins.
So what is he bitching about? One category?
Didn't go. Well, this is just getting down to the Sweet 16.
I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. Donna Douglas versus Catherine Bach of the Dukes of Hazzard.
Mm-hmm.
He's with you with Donna Douglas.
All right. So far, we're in line.
Okay. Now with a break, Maureen McCormick versus Susan Day. Dave's going with Susan Day.
Really?
Yep. He's going with Susan
lost all respect for the man.
So.
Really?
Yeah. Susan Day was hot. With the Partridge Family.
Against who? Marsha Brady?
Marsha.
Get out of town.
Well, you eliminated Marsha later, so you can't even speak of this.
Well, wait a minute. Those two, I'm going to put this out to the audience. We're going to put this out as a Twitter poll. All right? Who would you? Marsha Brady, or Susan Day?
From the Partridge Family.
Right. Skeletor. I digress. But go ahead.
Okay. And then the last one was the Rock and Roll Chicks with Stevie Nicks versus Deborah Harry. I don't remember where you went with that. Dave went with Stevie Nicks.
Either one was a loser.
Yeah, I think you went with Deborah Harry.
I might have.
I'd have to check. All right, now on the other side.
Because I just think Stevie Nicks was like, unshaven. A lot of hair going on there. Hairy pits. Hairy... Whatever.
How do you know?
Grab him by the pussy.
I'm just going by what I think.
You're very judgmental.
I am very judgmental.
Okay. On the other side, there's a lot of shakeup here.
Okay.
Julie Newmar versus Yvonne Craig. Right out of the box, Yvonne Craig. Batgirl.
Okay. He likes Batgirl over... I'm sorry.
Catwoman.
Oh, I'm not going to stick with that. I like Catwoman.
Well, okay. You that's who you went with.
That's right.
Dave's going with Yvonne Craig.
Okay. Listen, it's a coin flip. To be honest with you, it's not like the difference between Debbie Harry and what's her name, the hairy chick.
I would go with Yvonne Craig myself.
Okay. All right.
That purple and yellow, just works.
I hear you.
Okay. Another shakeup. Farrah Fawcett versus Jacqueline Smith. Dave's going with Jacqueline Smith.
Really?
Which is who she was always my favorite angel.
I'll tell you what, my favorite angel? Kate Jackson.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk about Skeletor.
No. You got to be kidding me. Girl next door. Very attainable. Kate Jackson.
I'm not sure, but I think I think she may have come out like Meredith Baxter Burney or something. I'm not sure.
Hey,
about
so we
that.
both like chicks. What's the big deal?
I know. The next one, Barbara Eden versus Diana Rigg, who was Emma Peel on the Avengers. Mm-hmm. Diana Rigg.
Really?
Yeah, you went with Barbara Feldon.
Sure. Hot. Still hot. I think she's dead now. But when she was alive.
No, Barbara Eden's still alive.
She's still alive? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so is Diana Rigg. Where are we at here? Carolyn Jones versus Yvonne DiCarlo, which is Morticia Addams versus Lily Munster. And Dave's going with Lily Munster, Yvonne DiCarlo.
Now, I went with the other one, right? Didn't I go with...
You went with Carolyn Jones.
Yeah, I went with Morticia.
Morticia, right.
Right.
Okay. Barbara Eden versus Elizabeth Montgomery.
Right.
Dave's going with Barbara Eden.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, this one's not a surprise. Lindsay Wagner versus Linda Carter.
Wait a minute. I went with Lindsay Wagner in that one.
No. Barbara Eden versus Elizabeth Montgomery.
Right.
You went with Elizabeth Montgomery.
Right. He's going with Barbara Eden.
Right.
Okay.
Now, this one's not a surprise. Lindsay Wagner
this.
versus Linda Carter. Dave went with Linda Carter.
Right.
Okay. Jamie Lee Curtis versus Sigourney Weaver. Dave's with you on this one, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right.
And the last one, he's with you on Raquel Welch versus Ursula Andress. It's Raquel Welch.
Yeah, who cares? Who doesn't pick
So
Raquel Welch?
those are Dave's Sweet 16 picks for now.
All right. So, well, come on, let's do the other one. Let's do 16. Where do you go from there?
You want to get it down to the Elite Eight?
Yeah, sure. We got time.
Okay. Joyce DeWitt versus Marlo Thomas. That bitch Marlo Thomas. Marlo Thomas comes out and beats out Joyce DeWitt. So that's where I split with Dave. I was at Joyce DeWitt.
Yeah, I think I was the same way, wasn't I?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's where Marlo Thomas fell out after yours. I can go back and reference it.
That's all right.
Here's a big one. Dawn Wells versus Susan Day. Dave's going with Susan Day.
All right. Come on. Now there's something wrong here.
You like what you like.
I guess.
This is all subjective.
God. Just the teeth alone. But whatever.
Now on the other side, Yvonne Craig versus Diana Rigg. Dave's going with Yvonne Craig.
Over the girl from the Avengers? Who's Donna Craig?
Yvonne Craig is Batgirl.
Oh. But he's going with
over
Lily Munster over Batgirl?
No, you're thinking of Yvonne DiCarlo. Yvonne Craig is Batgirl.
Right.
Diana Rigg is Emma Peel.
Oh, I got you. And he's picking who?
He's picking Batgirl.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay.
I'll go with that.
Linda Carter and Raquel Welch. Linda Carter.
Get that. See, this is bogus right now.
What?
It's just no way. Linda Carter, Raquel Welch? You gotta be kidding me. He picks Linda Carter over Raquel Welch?
Yeah, Linda Carter's hot.
Not as hot as Raquel Welch.
I don't know. Raquel Welch wasn't Miss USA.
She could have been.
Yeah,
she wasn't.
She was. You just don't like Linda Carter because she's a big bitch.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that out of the two, it's not even a contest. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of Linda Carter fans out there.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a Linda Carter fan.
Hey, listen, Dave just wants to be tied up. I got you. Okay. Please,
what?
Please. Tie
the
me up with
golden lasso. I'm
truth.
like, what? Where are you going with this?
Please tie me up with the lasso of truth. I've been a bad boy. Very bad boy.
So, that's where he's at on that. So that's the that brings you to that was the Elite Eight.
Okay. That's it.
Did you want more?
Yeah, let's do the whole thing.
All right. Marlo Thomas versus Susan Day. Dave went with Susan Day. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, that's it. It's over.
Because you got this like anti-Susan Day thing. I don't know what's going on there, but so Marlo Thomas over Susan Day.
Dirty clam. Okay.
And then you got Batgirl over Wonder Woman.
He took Batgirl.
Batgirl versus Wonder Woman. That's the matchup.
Right, and he's going with Wonder Woman.
You got to settle down over there.
I'm very hyped up over here.
You're very rambunctious.
I'll tell you what.
Those cough
whole
drops
thing
are just running amok in your system.
He's out of line. He's out of line with this whole thing. Okay, so who did he pick between Linda Carter and Batgirl?
Between Batgirl and Wonder Woman, Dave went with Batgirl.
All this and Batgirl still beats her?
Yeah,
I thought she was going to be the one. I thought, he was going to take her to the final.
I
guess I don't know Dave as well as I thought I did.
No.
How about that?
You don't know shit from Shinola.
That's true.
I always wondered how the Shinola people felt about that expression.
That's true. What do you mean?
And so that's the matchup between now the final championship round. It's Marlo Thomas, that bitch,
right, versus
Yvonne Craig. And he goes with Batgirl.
Okay. I would do that.
Yeah. I'm pretty much, some of these I'm right in line with him because you and I split on some of these too.
Right.
So I went with Batgirl right out of the chute against Catwoman.
Right.
And Jacqueline Smith also. My overall winner was Marianne. I'm just a Marianne guy. Yeah.
It was the shorts, right?
Well, it's like that, I like dwarven brunettes with big brown eyes. What can I say?
Okay. Well, good thing you married one.
Yeah, well, every girl I dated was like a dwarven brunette with big brown eyes.
It's true. You do have kind of a type.
Yeah, that's it.
And
I
that's
like what I like.
So wait a minute. Who was the winner of this whole
Batgirl.
Batgirl won the whole thing.
Right. She, between from the Thrilling 32, Dave whittled it down to Batgirl. No, I don't know. I think it was a pretty good pick.
Out of all those broads?
Well, you went with Farrah Fawcett.
Come on. She's the most her poster's still #1 seller.
Yeah,
After all these years.
Yeah, so?
She's worm bait. And guys are still running a hand batch off to that thing.
I don't know what you're referencing there.
Yes, you do. Don't you play coy with me. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Now you're being naughty. So.
Yes, I'm being naughty.
So. But, I don't know. It's as I said, it's subjective. I mean, you like what you like.
Well, I guess.
Some guys like blondes, some guys like redheads, some guys like brunettes.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave. Thank you very much for taking the time to fill out the 32. Mm-hmm. What was the one we were going to talk? I was going to put on Twitter between Marsha and Susan Day. Susan Day,
right?
Good God!
Yeah, I know she's pretty hot.
Really?
I thought so. In the Partridge Family days.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I don't know. All right, dude. Let's wrap this.
Lighten up, Francis. All right. I'm flying without a net, folks. I have no read here, so I'm going to do this all by memory. So thank you very much for listening to the Brand X podcast. And listen, we'd like to connect with you, so why don't you come on over your social media. If you're too old for Twitter, we've got Facebook. We're on Instagram. We got all this place, and you can find out all that information if you go to brandxpodcast.com/contact. And again, I will be on my knees begging for a iTunes review. If you go over to brandxpodcast.com/iTunes, they'll take you where you can go and rate and review the podcast. And you know how we love those. Or I love them. Deuce could give two shakes of a rat's ass over them.
That's not true.
That's not true? Okay.
There you are, always putting words in my mouth.
That's true. That's what I do. And thank you very much for hanging out with us. And come on back next Friday for another episode of the Brand X Podcast.
Excellent.
Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, get ready for President Clinton.
Why, is he coming to the area?
She.
Well, she's not president, so you can't reference her that way.
She will be.
That's it. We're just getting into it.